Hello and welcome to today's video. In today's video, I'll be answering a very important question. Do I need a company secretary in my company? So maybe you're a CEO or a founder of a company. You're probably wondering, okay, do I need a company secretary for my company, or does my company need a company secretary at this point? I've gone far, or I've just started, or I'm about to start. Well, I'll be answering that question in this video, so stay tuned to the very end. Firstly, who is a company secretary? A company secretary is not a personal assistant. The person is actually an officer of the company that is in charge of ensuring corporate compliance, and is also in charge of issuing statutory notices, maintaining the register of the company, and keeping the board of directors organized. So that is to say that the company secretary plays a vital governance role in a company. Yes, so now that you know who a company secretary is, let's now talk about the duties of the company secretary. The company secretary is in charge of maintaining the register of the company, the statutory register of the company. Person is also in charge of issuing notices. Person is also in charge of handling changes in shareholding and directorship. Person is also in charge of advising the board of directors on compliance matters. Person is also in charge of filing annual returns and any other corporate filings that are needed in the company. So now that you know some of the duties of the company secretary, let's now consider another very important question, which is, do all companies need a company secretary? So for a private company before 2020 was required to have a company secretary. That is to say, both private companies and public companies were mandated to have company secretaries. That is before 2020. But after 2020, that's the coming in of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. Public companies were mandated. That is, it was compulsory for a public company to appoint a company secretary. But for a private company, it's no longer compulsory. The process has been eased down. It's now made flexible. So for a private company, it's optional for them to appoint a company secretary. But in the event that they choose to appoint one, they have to ensure that the process is properly documented with the Corporate Affairs Commission. But for a public company, it is compulsory, and they are equally required to ensure that the qualification of the person meets the provisions of the law. That is to say that if you must appoint a company secretary for your public company, the person must either be a legal practitioner or a member of the Institute of Chartered Secretaries or Administrators or an accountant. So for a private company, it's optional. For a public company, it is compulsory. So let's now talk about a private company. What are the circumstances that could lead to a private company appointing a company secretary? So some of the reasons could be that, okay, maybe your company is growing or increasing, and corporate regulatory compliance is growing by the day, and you need that to be sorted out with. You would need to appoint a company secretary for proper guidance and to avoid any compliance issues in the future. Also, in the event that you don't want to make any errors, or you want to reduce the errors that you make in your corporate filings or annual returns filings, you will need to appoint a company secretary for that. And also, if you have multiple directors and you want someone to keep them organized, keep things running smoothly in your company, in that regard, you would need to appoint a company secretary. Yes. So these are some of the circumstances that could lead to you appointing a company secretary. And let's now talk about the question. Let's address the question now. So, do I need a company secretary? As earlier mentioned, for a private company, you don't necessarily need a company secretary. It's not compulsory, it's optional. But in the event that you choose to do that, you choose to appoint one, you have to ensure that the process is properly documented with Corporate Affairs Commission. But for a public company, it's not compulsory for you to have. It's compulsory for a public company, it's compulsory for a public company to have a company secretary. So, yes, as I said earlier, ensure that the person is qualified under the law to be your company secretary if you're operating a public company. So I hope this has answered your question. If you found this video helpful, please ensure that you share it with your contacts, and please watch out for this channel for more business compliance tips. See, I come your way next time. See you in the next video. Bye.